the Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, give a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Check out all our past episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. What if these celebrities weren't famous? What would they have become? What was their first job? We're about to find out.
Our guest this week played for the Golden State Warriors, the New York Knicks, the Chicago Bulls, and the Utah Jazz. 1993 NBA All-Defenseman second team, an NBA All-Star in 94, and the NBA's sixth man of the year in 1997. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest this week on Celebrity Jobber, John Starks. John, you have such an incredible story. We just celebrated, I believe it was the 30th anniversary of the quote-unquote, the dunk. Have you ever thought about all these years later how famous that play was? You guys, the Knicks, the Bulls, and a dunk right over Horace Grant, which, you know, people still remember. Is it 30 years later?
Yeah, it's coming up May 25th, actually.
Unbelievable.
30 years later, yeah. You're the first person that says Horace Grant instead of Michael Jordan.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong for saying?
You are correct. Most people always just say Michael, and they forget that Horace Grant was on the front end of that play.
Yeah, I was watching, and I made the same sound I'm sure the entire world made, and that was, because listen, first of all, dunking on Michael Jordan, that's fine, but Horace Grant was, how much taller is Horace? Horace Grant's a big guy.
Yeah, he's 6'10". Yeah.
And how tall are you, John?
I am 6'2".
Wow. Let me get into a little bit about your life growing up. Where are you from? Where did you spend most of your time growing up?
Well, I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's where I cut my teeth playing in the parks back then. We had some good ball players that came out of there. Guys you familiar with, Wayman Tisdale, Anthony Bowie, Lee Mayberry, Richard Dumas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had a few guys that came out of there and went on to do something successful in the NBA. So that's where I kind of honed my game at, just playing in the parks. Wasn't on the AAU circuit because it wasn't that big back then like it is now.
Huge.
It's big business now, more so than anything. But, I just, I grew up, I had a humble beginning and just kind of like fought my way up to be the player that I became.
It's an unbelievable story. Let's talk a little bit about that humble beginning. Mom and dad growing up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Can you tell me anything about your parents and what they did?
Well, I was raised by a single mother. My father wasn't in the picture when I was growing up. And so it was 7 siblings all together. And we had it, hard growing up, welfare, the whole thing that goes along with, trying to single parent, trying to raise 7 kids. And my mother, she was a hard worker, but, it was just tough on her to try to raise. Basically, it was 5 boys, 2 girls. So
wow.
Trying to feed boys was very tough. And but, we would come from a loving family, very pulled together to try to make ends meet. I had my grandmother who was there. She kind of rock of the family. And so, but, the love was there. God was present in our life, and we was able to manage to get through it and go on to do things with our lives. And to this day, I'm very proud of all my siblings that we was able to fight through the adversity that goes along with the struggles that we had and come out on top.
So, John, this is an incredible story. Single mother, 7 kids. And when we talk about basketball and the NBA, I understand you didn't even make your high school basketball team other than just for 1 year.
Yes. Yeah, that was my junior year when I actually tried out and ended up playing my junior year. We had a successful junior year, went into my senior year. Started off with the team, and me and the coach got in a disagreement, and I ended up leaving the team. And from there, I was just playing street basketball, kind of honing my skills. At that time, I was only like 5'10", so I wasn't a tall kid. And so I was a point guard more so than a two guard coming out of high school. And my senior year, at the end of my senior year, I should say, over the summer, I grew another 4 inches.
Wow. So after high school, you took a different path. And I can tell you, I know how this goes. I have a son playing college baseball right now, and he has taken a similar path to you. But tell me a little bit about the path. You weren't highly recruited out of high school because you were, you played 1 year. You're 5'10". You weren't heavily recruited, so a D1 school didn't come a-knocking. So tell me about your path.
Well, when I came out of high school, I knew my only option was to go junior college. And so I pretty much went to the same route that most students go through. And to try to, get into college, I had to apply for grants and things of that nature. And I was able to, get into a junior college called Rogers State Junior College, and went down there, was a walk-on, and was able to stick around there for a semester before I got myself into some trouble, and I had to leave that school. Then I went to Northern Junior College. I was there for about a year, ended up getting kicked out of that school for some mess that I got involved in, and ended up going back home and working at Safeway, making $3.35 an hour, bagging groceries.
Wow.
That I kind of moved up the chain, became a checker, and then finally got to where the big dollars was, $6 an hour.
Oh, nice.
Stocking groceries at night. And from there, I was looking at taking an assessment of my life and where I was at, and decided to get back in school. So I enrolled back in school to get an education more so than to play basketball. It just so happens that the school, Tulsa Junior College, had a intramural basketball league, and so I just to stay in shape, I enrolled, put myself in that. End up, killing that particular league because you think about who you're playing against.
Right. Intramural, just regular guys. Right.
Yeah, averaging about 40 points a game. And my coach heard that they were starting another junior college called Oklahoma Junior College in Tulsa, a startup institution, and that they were looking for players to come out and participate in their basketball team. And he ended up calling a good friend of his, Ken Trickey Jr. I'm not sure you heard of Ken Trickey.
Ken Trickey Jr. once coached Oral Roberts University, correct?
There you go. So he was the coach, and the son was the assistant coach. And so he ended up calling him to come check me out. And he said, I think I got a player for you. So he came, and while he was at the game, he was sitting up in the stands. And so I said to myself, I'm getting ready to impress this guy. So I was at the free throw line, and I intentionally missed the shot, and it came off perfect, and I caught it and turned and dunked it backwards.
Oh.
and he said, no, we got to have him. So he ended up bringing me over. He said, okay, can you come, to this tryout on Saturday? And when I walked in the gym, it was about 100 people in there trying out.
Really? And
I looked at him. I said, "Really? If you want me to go out here and try?" He said, "Don't worry about it. You're not really trying out. You just come. I just want you to come see." And so I ended up obviously putting me on the team and ended up getting me a scholarship.
Wow!
And so I played that particular year and started off, on the bench and was getting mediocre time. And I can remember we was playing in Idaho at this classic that they do up there. And Joey Johnson, you talking about a guy that can jump out the gym?
Really?
This guy was a high jumper, and I watched him stand flat-footed, and they threw him a lob pass, and he jumped up, and the ball was too high. He just like he was suspended in the air, and waited till it came off the backboard, caught it, and dunked it.
Oh, wow.
Man, he could just jump out the gym. So anyway, on my way back, the coach came up to me and he said, you know what, I got to get you more time. You think you could start at the point? I like, just put me in. And he put me in, and I went on to have became an All-American.
And that would be at Oklahoma Junior College, and from that you earned a full scholarship to Oklahoma State University, and that's where you finished up, and that's when it all started to happen for you after that. Yeah,
but I was fortunate. You know, they say in life, you know, everything is about timing.
Right.
And I was playing in the Big 8 at the time. And Kansas and, you know, Oklahoma and all those teams was in there. And Larry Brown was the coach of Kansas. And they end up, you know, winning the national championship that particular year. They end up beating Oklahoma in the national championship game. Stacey King, Mookie Blaylock, and those guys, Harvey Grant and those guys. And so Larry Brown liked what he saw. Coach Bill Self, who's the coach at Kansas, was my assistant coach.
Oh, wow.
At the time. And Leonard Hamilton was my head coach, who's at Florida State. So Larry Brown and Coach Self had a good relationship, and Larry Brown liked what he saw in me. And he ended up taking the job that summer with San Antonio Spurs. And Coach Brown, just kind of show you how things happened very quickly for me. I was actually ended up, because I had one more year of eligibility, left at the Division II, Division III NAIA level. So Grand Canyon, I watched them win the NAIA national championship, and Coach Paul Westphal, he was the coach at the time. So I went down there for a visit. I liked Coach Westphal. I liked their program. So I was actually going to end up signing with them and play one more year of college basketball. It was just so happens that Coach Westphal ended up getting a job as an assistant coach for Phoenix that particular summer. And so I said, well, I'm not going to go there. And on my way back, Coach Brown ended up getting a job at San Antonio Spurs. And Coach Self said, you know, Coach Brown liked you a lot. He said that he'll probably take you in the next year's draft. I told Coach Self, tell him I'm coming out now. He called Coach Brown and told Coach Brown, and he said, well, I can't take him in the draft because we already have our pick. So their pick was they was going to take Vernon Maxwell.
Okay.
And so, but he said that he can come to a rookie free agent camp. And I ended up coming into rookie free agent camp, and me and Maxwell, Vernon was in the same backcourt. I was a point, he was a two. And I ended up having a great rookie free agent camp. That I have all these teams coming up to me, asking me who's my agent. I didn't have an agent.
Oh, man.
So Golden State ended up calling and guaranteed me $50,000 to come into training camp. Mind you, the minimum was $100,000.
Okay.
So they normally don't do that, but they like me so much, so they end up guaranteeing me $150,000. And so I thought, you know what? You know, let me bring this back to Coach Brown to give them opportunity to match it, because I really wanted to stay with Coach Brown in San Antonio because he gave me opportunity. And I told him what Golden State was offering, and he said we normally don't do that type of thing. I said if you can match that number, you know, I'd love to stay here with you. And so he went to, you know, his higher ups, and they just want to guarantee me $10,000 to come into camp. And I said, you know what? I got a wife and a kid.
This is it.
I got to go.
Listen to I mean, John, what you're telling me here, I mean, this stuff happened so fast. And you said it, right? He goes, you know, you said, let me just kind of show you how fast this happened. I mean, this was so fast. Tell me, before all this happened, were you couldn't have been thinking about the NBA before all this happened. You couldn't have been thinking about all this. You got into some trouble, like you said, you know, little petty stuff, you know, kids stuff, trouble, you know, when he was in college. But after, you're 21, 22 years old and, not a lot of playing time in a major college, the NBA seems like that's kind of far away. So what were you thinking? You said Safeway. Was that, by the way, was the Safeway, was that your first job?
No.
What was your first job? My
first job was rehabbing homes. That was my first job. Well, my first job was a newspaper route.
Okay.
In like 7th grade.
And then what?
Then end up working rehabbing homes when I was like 16. They had this summer program that they was offering for high school kids to come and help, builders rehab homes.
Oh, okay.
In our neighborhood. So I was doing that for a while. And then Safeway.
And then Safeway.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think you were going to go and do for a living before all this stuff happened? Did you study something in college? What direction did you think you were going to go into? Because
I was in business administration, so something to do with business. That's what my goal was. My grandmother always said that she saw me sitting behind a desk doing something in business. So, normally your grandmother have a good idea. But I really enjoyed construction. So when I was rehabbing homes, I love doing that, and I love seeing improvement. I actually, when I'm driving around the city, I stop and look at buildings being built and things of that nature, because I love that type of thing, because you see progress when you see things being built, and I love that. So probably something within that field.
When did you think, John, that all of this was coming together and you had a shot in the NBA? So, do you consider your big break during the chronology of all those events that you just kind of told me? What was the big break?
Actually, when I was playing in the summer, and I actually was playing against Dennis Rodman in a summer league. It was like a event that they do every summer called a Pigs Pop-Off, like a tournament. And he was actually just coming out of school, and all you heard about is the worm is coming. And we end up playing against him, and the first half I didn't do too well against him, and my brother said some choice words to me at halftime. And the second half, I think I came out and gave him like 20-some points.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I knew that, okay, I do got an opportunity to play at the next level. And Ken Trickey also gave me a lot of confidence that I could play at the next level during my time at Oklahoma Junior College, because he told me, he said, I didn't coach a lot of guys, and I didn't coach guys that went to the pros, and you just as good as any one of them.
Wow.
And, so they just kept reinforcing, my confidence that, I can play at the next level. And plus, during that time, a lot of pros used to come down and play in that tournament. Then vice versa, we used to go to Dallas and play against pros, during that time, during the summer. And I used to always on the all-star teams along with these pros. So that
you knew you could play with these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me a little bit, John, about getting with the Knicks. Again, I was a big Knicks fan, 94 NBA All-Star, but getting on the Knicks was kind of funny in a way because they didn't want to keep you on the team. They were going to cut you, and there was a story behind a pretty famous Knicks player and the reason how you made the team and became the John Starks that we all know you today.
Yeah, I got invited to come into a veteran free agent camp. Dick McGraw actually came and watched me play when I was in the World Basketball League, WBL, and the World Basketball League, and the summer league, about a 3-month summer league. And he came and watched me play, and I put on a show for him. I think I scored 40 points up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and he said, he called my agent. Him and my agent was good friends, and he called my agent and said, we want to invite him to training camp. And I ended up coming to training camp, had a real good training camp. It was actually the last day, where they had to make a decision if they was going to keep me or cut me. And so I needed reinforced them that I wanted to be here, and I treated that last day like it was a playoff game.
Right.
Went in, and I don't think I missed a shot that particular day, and it was a particular play where it was a breakaway play, and Patrick was running back.
If you're talking about center Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, and so I said, you know what, this is my opportunity right here to show these guys. So I went up to go dunk on Patrick and forgot that he's 7 foot and he could jump. And he ended up catching my dunk. I ended up coming down and twisting my knee. I had thought I had tore it up, and he did too. He felt very bad. But it was a blessing in disguise because it made their job easier, that they really didn't feel like they wanted to cut me. But the numbers, because that position that I was playing was filled up with Trent and Gerald Wilkins at that time. And so it gave me an opportunity to get on injury reserve, and I didn't realize that they couldn't cut you if they put me on injury reserve. So it was kind of like a blessing in disguise. So it gave me a chance to hang around until the opportunity came for me to come off injury reserve and play. And my first game actually was against Chicago Bulls, against Michael Jordan. So,
oh man,
it was exciting. Basically went from playing street basketball to being in the NBA in a 2-year period.
That is just unbelievable, man. I mean, it's just, and it seems like you're a guy that just, you said you came from humble beginnings. You didn't forget that. I mean, what a blessing, and just a great story. Post basketball, what do you do post basketball? Are you in the business world? Are you out? Do you play golf every day and just living a retired life? What do you do with your time now?
Well, I do a lot of things. So my daytime job is I work with the Knicks in the front office as alumni relations.
Okay.
So that entails that I'm kind of like the face of the organization within the community. So from dealing with our sponsors, from dealing with fans, going out doing public speaking at schools and corporations and that type of thing, whatever they need for me to do, they pretty much put up the bat signal and I'm there.
Right.
So that's my daytime job. Then I'm involved in an energy company called Thin Energy drink company. It's a plant-based drink, one of the only certified plant-based drinks out there. And so we're excited about where that brand is headed. It gives you all the same quality of things like these energy drinks do, but without the caffeine and the crashes that you get with these energy drinks out there on the market. And it's great for all ages. I can drink that in the morning and I don't have to eat. So it kind of depresses your appetite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So people always wonder why, I stay so trim. It's because I'm drinking that in the morning. I don't have to eat maybe twice a day. It's light meals too.
Maybe I should pick up some Thin Energy to get it a little off of my waistline myself.
There you go. Then I just opened up a car dealership, Kia, John Starks Kia in Queens. Opened that up about going on 2 years now. In December, it'll be 2 years, and that's doing very well. We're number one Kia dealer up here in the Northeast right now.
John, 2 years between playing street ball and the NBA. I mean, it's an inspirational story. I mean, it's a lot of people, they don't know where you came from, and here's a guy who grew up humble beginnings in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a single mother. She had, 7 children and had to make ends meet. And then all of a sudden, you got this kid that doesn't make his high school basketball team for more than 1 year. He goes to some small schools. He gets in trouble, kicked out of a few schools, gets on a few more, starts playing basketball, and within 2 years, working at a Safeway, playing street ball. He's making $6 an hour at a Safeway, and then all of a sudden to the NBA in 2 years and making big dollars. And it's one of those stories that people dream about, but you're a real guy. It does happen. It does happen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, the most important thing is just kind of believing in yourself and, you know what I mean, don't take things for granted, and whatever talents that you have, hone them and you can do anything in this life.
You know, it's kind of a cliche thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do anything if you put your mind to it, but you're kind of living proof that that's not just a thing you say. It really does happen.
Exactly.
Man.
And the most important thing I'm proud of is my foundation. So I've been having the John Starks Foundation since 1994, and we've been doing a lot of good work up here in the north, in the tri-state area, as well as back in my hometown in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so we give out scholarships to graduating seniors that's ready to go to college, and we've been doing that since 1994, and we continue to help them throughout their whole college journey, as long as they continue to meet the grade point averages. And been very blessed because I didn't see a lot of, athletes, foundations come and go during my time since 1994, but this one has stood the test of time, and I'm thankful that I got great people to support it. And so it's a blessing that I was able to, take my popularity and use it for good.
John, great talking to you. Inspirational story.
Okay, then.
Take care.
Okay, Jeff.
Bye-bye now. On Twitter, John Starks the Dunk. His foundation, johnstarks.org. His energy drink, thinenergy.com. Guy's got a lot going on. For some of these guys, it's not all roses. Construction. He was interested after a summer job rehabbing houses. If it wasn't for this guy's work ethic, it could have been very, very easy to not know who John Starks is. But we all know that's not the case. May 25th, the 30th anniversary of the Dunk. Remember it like it was yesterday. Please don't forget, if you like this podcast, share it, leave a comment, and of course, we always appreciate a 5-star rating. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. CelebrityJobber.com and on Instagram, Celebrity Jobber Podcast. That'll do it for this week's episode of Celebrity Jobber. Once again, thanks for listening. I'm Jeff Zito.
The Podcast Playground. Hooray!